Imagine this. You have spent, like, thousands of dollars to book the most sought-after, world-renowned hairstylist for your wedding day.
Oh, yeah. The absolute best.
Right. You've had them on hold for maybe 18 months. You've got this massive Pinterest board curated with all these intricate architectural updos and, cascading glossy waves.
The dream hair.
Exactly. So the morning of the event finally arrives. You sit down in the chair, and this absolute master of their craft looks at your hair, kind of runs their hands through it, and gently tells you that physically, structurally, your hair is just going to completely reject everything they try to do to it.
Ugh. It is honestly the ultimate nightmare scenario.
Right.
But the crazy thing is, it is incredibly common. We all have this deep-seated assumption, I think, that hairstyling is purely about the magic hands of the stylist, right? Or the heat of the iron, the hold of the spray.
Yeah, we just treat hair like it's clay that can be molded on demand.
Exactly.
But clay is pliable. And what we are really dealing with here is a biological material that actually has a breaking point. So today, we are throwing out the idea of, day of magic. Welcome to another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are looking at the molecular reality of hairstyling. We're drawing from this really extensive methodology on pre-wedding hair treatments and specifically leaning into the expert frameworks provided by Weddizer.
Which is such a fascinating platform.
It really is. And our mission today is to totally decode the science and strategy of preparation. We're moving way past just styling. We are getting into molecular repair, structural conditioning, and the kind of multi-month prep that fundamentally changes the physical properties of what's growing out of your head.
What is genuinely fascinating about this methodology is how it forces us to confront a pretty harsh biological reality. That hair is dead tissue. I mean, unlike your skin, which can regenerate cells to heal a scratch or a sunburn over a few days, your hair has zero biological capacity to heal itself.
Zero. Wow.
None. Once it emerges from the scalp, it is basically a historical record of everything you have ever done to it.
Oh, that's slightly terrifying.
Right. Therefore, what we call healing in hair care is actually this highly sophisticated process of chemical and structural reconstruction.
Yeah.
And my core belief with this stuff is that knowledge is only really powerful when it's applied correctly.
Yeah.
And this source material proves that flawless results aren't just manipulated on the morning of an event. They are meticulously engineered months in advance.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because even if you, listening right now, aren't walking down an aisle anytime soon, maybe you just want your hair to look decent for, like, a Tuesday morning Zoom meeting.
Exactly.
Understanding this timeline, understanding the actual science of what ingredients like Olaplex or Keratin are doing to your cellular structure, it's a total masterclass in long-term personal care.
It completely shifts how you think about maintenance.
It really does. So let's start with the core thesis that underpins this entire framework from Weddizer. It represents a massive paradigm shift. The premise is stark. It's literally just healthy hair equals better styling.
It sounds almost insultingly simple, right?
Yeah.
You hear that and you think, well, obviously. But the implications of that statement govern the actual physics of what a stylist can achieve.
I have to admit, when I read that, I immediately wanted to push back. Like, let's go back to my hypothetical master stylist. If they're a true master of their craft, shouldn't they be able to work with anything?
You'd think so, but no.
Like, let's say I give a master painter a really rough, crumbling canvas. Sure, it's not ideal, but they're a master. They'll find a way to paint a masterpiece, right? Why does the baseline health of a dead biological fiber limit the options so drastically? Don't they have, like, heavy-duty silicones and industrial-strength sprays?
It's a really great analogy, but let's actually lean into that crumbling canvas idea to understand the limits of the painter. Even world-class techniques, the most expensive Dyson styling tools, the highest-grade professional hairsprays, they will inevitably fail if the substrate, the hair itself, lacks structural integrity.
So it's about the foundation.
Completely. We have to look at the anatomy of a hair strand. The outermost layer is the cuticle, which basically looks a lot like overlapping shingles on a roof under a microscope.
Like a pine cone, almost.
Yes, exactly like a pine cone. When hair is healthy, those shingles lay perfectly flat and tight.
Which is what makes the strand smooth.
Right. But when hair is damaged by, heat, bleach, or just environmental wear and tear over time, those shingles are blasted open. They're jagged, they're lifted, or they're missing entirely. So if a stylist tries to pull that rough, porous hair into a sleek, elegant bun, it physically cannot lay flat.
Because it's catching on itself.
Exactly. The microscopic edges catch on each other. It frizzes out. Furthermore, If the inner structure of the hair, which is called the cortex, if that is stripped of moisture, it becomes hollow. Yet it cannot hold a curl because the internal bonds that give the hair its memory and shape are shattered.
So no matter how much heat you apply with an iron, there's literally nothing inside the hair to remember the shape you're trying to force it into.
Precisely. You are trying to bend a dry twig instead of a supple, living branch.
It just snaps.
It just snaps or falls limp. And then, of course, there's the visual element. The text makes a big point that smooth, nourished hair with a sealed cuticle is what actually looks polished in photographs.
Well, I assume that's just because of how light interacts with it, right? Basic optics.
Basic optics, absolutely. Shine does not exist as an independent thing you can just add.
Right.
Shine is simply light reflecting uniformly off a smooth surface.
So if it's rough?
If the cuticle shingles are jagged and rough, the light hits the hair and scatters in 1,000 different directions. The hair looks dull, matte, lifeless. And that happens no matter how much shine spray the stylist coats it in.
Because the shine spray just sits on top of a broken structure. That makes so much sense. So the first pillar of this entire preparation methodology is creating that superior styling canvas. You are literally resurfacing the canvas so the light behaves correctly, and so the hair has the mechanical ability to bend without breaking.
Which brings us directly to the second pillar, which is endurance.
Right.
The preparation ensures the hairstyle survives the marathon of the event. Think about the sheer structural demand placed on a hairstyle during a wedding.
It's intense.
Or, frankly, any 12-hour event. You are dealing with morning rituals, baseline humidity, the physical friction of hugging hundreds of people.
Oh yeah, the hugging alone destroys hair.
Right. And temperature fluctuations from, an air-conditioned room to an outdoor patio, and then hours of dancing late into the night.
It's basically an extreme stress test for a fiber.
It is. And hair is incredibly hygroscopic.
Meaning it absorbs water.
Yet, it constantly absorbs moisture from the air. So if your hair is damaged and those cuticle shingles are open, humidity rushes into the hair shaft immediately.
And it swells up.
It swells, and it completely loses whatever style the iron put into it. That elegant wave turns into an amorphous cloud of frizz.
Yeah, I've definitely been there.
By treating the hair beforehand, you are sealing the cuticle, blocking out the humidity, and giving the style the endurance to actually survive the night.
And that naturally flows into the third pillar, which I honestly find really compelling because it sifts away from the physics and into the psychology of it all.
The confidence aspect.
Exactly, the confidence boost. The text mentions this specifically. When your hair feels soft, when you know it's secure and manageable, your confidence completely changes. It's not just about how you look in photos. It's about how you feel existing in your own body on a high-stakes day.
It's so true. If we zoom out and connect this to the broader philosophy of wellness, physical discomfort or anxiety about your appearance is a massive cognitive drain.
Oh, huge.
If you're standing at an altar or, giving a presentation in a boardroom, and a small part of your brain is constantly worrying, is my updo falling apart? Is my hair frizzing into a halo right now?
You're distracted.
You are not fully present. The deep preparation we are discussing removes that variable entirely. You do the work months in advance so that on the day, you can just exist.
I love that. You engineer the hair so you don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
Okay, so if the canvas is currently crumbling, and we know traditional conditioners from the drugstore are basically just spackling over the cracks with temporary silicones,
Right.
how do we actually rebuild the wall? The methodology points us to the most foundational level of intervention, which is molecular repair.
Yes.
And that brings us straight into the heavyweight champion of hair science right now, Olaplex.
The gold standard.
Right.
And it is crucial to understand that Olaplex is not a conditioner.
Okay.
It is frequently categorized as a revolutionary hair treatment,
Right.
specifically because of the patented chemical mechanism it utilizes. What's fascinating here is the concept of broken bonds within the hair structure.
Let's stay right there for a second. Explain this to me like I'm 5. What exactly is a broken bond, and how does it break in the first place?
Okay, imagine the inside of your hair, the cortex, as a massive network of tiny ladders.
Ladders. Got it.
The sides of the ladders are made of keratin proteins, and the rungs of the ladders, the steps actually holding the sides together, are called disulfide bonds.
Disulfide bonds.
Right. They are strong, permanent chemical links made of sulfur atoms. They give your hair its fundamental strength, its elasticity, and its overall shape.
Okay, I'm picturing the ladders. They're keeping everything intact.
Now, when you apply bleach to lighten your hair or use chemical relaxers, or even just subject the hair to extreme daily heat from a flat iron.
Which everybody does.
Exactly. A process called oxidation occurs. And this chemical reaction basically acts like a microscopic chainsaw.
Oh, no.
It slices right through the rungs of those ladders. The sulfur atoms are completely split apart, and when enough of those rungs are broken, the structural integrity of the hair collapses.
It just falls apart.
It becomes gummy when wet, brittle when dry, and it just snaps off.
And so if I go to the drugstore and buy like a standard deep conditioner to fix this gummy hair, what is that actually doing?
A standard conditioner is composed of large molecules, usually fatty alcohols, oils, heavy silicones.
Okay.
These molecules are way too large to penetrate deep into the cortex where those broken ladders actually are.
So they just sit on top.
Exactly. They simply coat the outside of the hair. They smooth down the cuticle temporarily, making the hair feel soft and manageable for maybe a day or two.
But the ladders inside are still broken.
Completely broken. You are basically putting a shiny coat of paint over a house with a collapsed foundation.
Ah, okay. So how does Olaplex act differently? How does it fix the ladders?
So Olaplex utilizes a single active synthetic ingredient. It's called bismuthylpropyl diglycol dimaleate.
Wow. Okay. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Right. You don't need to memorize the name, obviously, but you need to understand its function.
Okay.
This molecule is incredibly small. It easily penetrates the cuticle and enters the cortex, and it is essentially a molecular welder.
A molecular welder.
It actively seeks out those single broken sulfur atoms that used to be a ladder rung, and it chemically bridges them back together.
Oh, wow.
It creates an artificial rung, permanently relinking the broken bond. It is actively rebuilding the internal architecture of the hair strand from the inside out.
That is wild. So it's not masking the damage at all. It is chemically reversing the structural failure.
Precisely.
So the benefits listed in the source material are entirely fundamental. Like it says it repairs chemically damaged hair, it reduces breakage and split ends, and it improves overall texture.
Right, because the ladders are whole again.
And it also mentions it's completely safe for colored and treated hair.
Exactly. It operates on the structural scaffolding, not the paint on the walls.
That makes sense.
Which is really vital because in a bridal timeline, people are often getting intricate color work done.
Right.
Balayage, heavy highlights.
Totally.
You need a structural repair system that won't strip that expensive color away.
But this brings me to a massive question I had when I was looking at the timeline they provided. The strategy insists that if you have damaged hair, you must begin this bond building process at least 2 to 3 months prior to the event.
Yes.
If this molecule is such an incredible molecular welder, why the delay? I'm genuinely confused by this. Why can't I just walk into a salon like 5 days before the wedding, hand them a blank check, and say, soak my head in pure Olaplex for 24 hours?
That would be convenient.
Right. Why drag it out over an entire fiscal quarter?
It is a completely logical question. I mean, if a medicine works, why not just take the whole bottle at once?
Exactly.
But that fundamentally misunderstands how molecular repair functions in a dead fiber. The methodology emphasizes that regular sections can dramatically improve hair health over time.
Regular sessions.
The critical concept here is saturation limits.
Oh, like a sponge that can't hold any more water.
Precisely like a sponge. In any single treatment session, there are only so many broken bonds that the active ingredient can successfully locate and bridge before the hair reaches a point of chemical saturation.
I see.
If you soak your head in it for 24 hours, the excess product simply washes down the drain. It physically cannot force a connection faster than the chemistry allows.
Oh, so it really is a cumulative process. It's not an instant fix.
It is entirely cumulative.
Uh-huh.
Think of it like physical therapy for a severe muscle tear.
Okay.
You don't walk into a gym on day one and try to lift a 500-pound weight for 8 hours straight to heal the muscle.
You would destroy it.
So you would completely destroy it.
Yeah.
You do targeted, consistent repetitions of smaller weights over months.
Right.
By starting 2 to 3 months out, you do a treatment, repair a percentage of the bonds, let the hair rest, and then go back and repair another percentage.
You're slowly building it back up.
You are incrementally reinforcing the integrity of the hair so that by the time the stylist touches it, the entire internal scaffolding is rock solid.
Okay, that makes total sense. I was looking for a magic wand, but it's actually a construction project.
That is a great way to put it.
So the bond builders are our interior architects. They are fixing the foundation inside the walls, but, nobody sees the inside of the walls.
So
we have to address the outside. And that transitions us perfectly from molecular repair to surface smoothing. Let's talk about the heavy hitter for texture, the keratin treatment.
Right. And to demystify keratin, we have to look at what it actually is in a biological sense.
Because it sounds like a harsh chemical.
It does. The beauty industry throws the word around constantly, but keratin is not some foreign manufactured plastic.
Mm.
It is simply the tough, fibrous protein that your hair, your nails, and your skin are naturally made of.
So when we talk about a keratin treatment, we aren't introducing some alien substance to the strain.
Not at all. As we discussed with the cuticle, those shingles on the outside of the hair, they are made of keratin. And over time, through aggressive brushing, environmental UV exposure, heat styling, those keratin shingles are physically chipped away and depleted.
Leaving the hair unprotected.
Exactly. The hair becomes porous and highly reactive to humidity. A keratin treatment is essentially just a process of replenishing the specific protein that has been lost.
So you're filling it in.
Yes, filling in the microscopic potholes on the surface of the hair shaft and then sealing it with heat.
It really makes me think of paving a damaged, pothole-filled road with fresh asphalt.
It's a perfect analogy.
You are rolling out this thick, smooth layer over the exterior so that everything, the ambient light, the styling tools, the bristles of a brush, it all just glides effortlessly across it.
You are resurfacing the highway.
Yeah.
And the practical, tangible benefits of this resurfacing are incredibly specific in the text.
Like eliminating frizz.
It dramatically eliminates frizz and flyaways because the hair is no longer porous. It physically can't suck in humidity. It adds intense mirror-like shine because, as we established, light is now reflecting off a perfectly smooth cylinder. And it renders the hair silky and noticeably straighter.
And there is a deeply practical point mentioned in this methodology that I think is a massive deal for the logistics of a busy morning.
Which is?
It radically reduces styling time.
Oh, absolutely. That is huge.
Think about it. Think about a bride with naturally thick, unruly, highly frizz-prone hair. If she sits in the stylist chair in her natural state, the stylist might have to spend, an hour and a half just painstakingly blow-drying and flat-ironing tiny half-inch sections of hair.
At least. Just to get it smooth enough to begin building the updo.
It is exhausting for the hair, and it just eats up precious time.
But if the hair has had a keratin treatment, it naturally dries sleek. The stylist bypasses that entire smoothing phase and gets straight to the actual artistry of shaping the style.
So the target demographic, the ideal candidate for keratin, is someone with frizzy, curly, or unmanageable hair who explicitly wants a sleek, controlled finish. But once again, I am looking at the timeline provided by Weddizer, and the strategic timing is totally different from the bond building phase.
It is.
The recommendation is to schedule the keratin treatment exactly 3 to 4 weeks before the wedding.
Yes.
Not 3 months out, like Olaplex, and certainly not the week of. Why that highly specific window?
Because of the physics of friction. The guidance specifically notes that this window allows your hair to, quote, settle into its best form.
What does settling actually imply? Is the keratin curing like cement or something?
In a way, yes, but it's more about the behavioral properties of freshly treated hair. If you have ever felt hair immediately after a fresh keratin treatment, you know it is extraordinarily sleek.
Oh yeah, it's super flat.
It is heavy with the infused protein, it's incredibly straight, and frankly, it is exceptionally slippery. It has almost zero friction coefficient.
Right, and if hair is too slippery, a bobby pin is just going to slide right out the bottom. It won't hold anything.
Exactly. If you try to build a complex, gravity-defying, structured hairstyle on hair that was treated with keratin, like 2 days prior, the stylist will be fighting the hair the entire time.
It's just going to slip apart.
It will actively resist holding a bend from a curling iron, and pins will just slip right through the strands.
So you need to wait.
By executing the treatment 3 to 4 weeks out, you allow the hair to go through a dozen or so wash cycles. The treatment softens slightly.
It wears off just a little bit.
Exactly. The overwhelming slickness diminishes. The hair retains the beautiful frizz-free shine, the blocked humidity, and the manageability. But it regains just enough of its natural texture and microscopic grip for the stylist to actually manipulate it and pin it securely on the day.
Wow. The level of tactical structural planning there is incredible. It's like trying to time the exact ripeness of an avocado.
That's exactly what it is.
But for the frictional properties of hair proteins.
Yeah.
So we have Olaplex for internal repair, we have keratin for external resurfacing, but there is a third major category introduced in these frameworks.
Hair bonding.
Yes, hair bonding treatments, and this is where I need some real clarification from you.
Okay.
If Olaplex is already rebuilding the broken bonds inside the hair, How does a bonding treatment differ? Aren't we just being redundant at this point?
It is a vital distinction to make, and it comes down to the difference between sheer structural integrity and actual pliability.
Pliability, okay.
While both focus on strengthening weak strands by addressing internal damage, the text notes that bonding treatments are often combined with conditioning agents.
So it's a hybrid approach?
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Pure bond builders, like Olaplex #1 and #2, used in a salon, are incredibly focused. They do one highly specific scientific job, relinking sulfur atoms very well,
Right.
but they don't necessarily make the hair feel soft. You can have hair that is structurally incredibly strong, but still feels dry and stiff.
These lacks moisture.
Yes. Bonding treatments take that bond-building technology and marry it with intense topical hydration and emollients. They are simultaneously addressing the internal scaffolding and injecting rich moisture into the cortex.
And the detailed benefits reflect that duality perfectly. You get the strengthening of weak strands and the prevention of future damage, but you also get massive improvements in shine, softness, and what I think is the most critical word used in this entire discussion.
Elasticity.
Elasticity. Let's talk about elasticity, because when it comes to hair survival, I feel like elasticity is the absolute holy grail.
It really is the single most important biomechanical property for preventing catastrophic breakage. Elasticity is simply the hair's ability to stretch under tension and then return to its original shape without snapping.
Which is exactly what a stylist is doing all morning.
Right.
They are pulling sections tightly to pin them. They are wrapping hair under extreme tension around a hot iron. If the hair is rigid, even if it's strong, it will snap under that force. You don't just want strength. You want resilience. You want it to stretch, hold the stress, and survive.
Healthy hair should actually be able to stretch up to 30% of its length when wet without breaking.
Wait, 30%? That's a lot.
It is a lot. But if hair lacks moisture, it loses that stretch, becomes brittle. By utilizing a hybrid bonding treatment, you are fortifying the internal ladders while simultaneously ensuring the keratin proteins remain supple and hydrated.
And tactically looking at the timeline, these treatments are positioned right in the middle, 1 to 2 months out.
Yes.
It is aimed perfectly at brides with brittle, weak, or overprocessed hair who desperately need both that internal reinforcement and external suppleness.
It's the perfect middle ground.
What I genuinely appreciate about this entire approach, and if you are listening, this is the real macro takeaway here, is that there is no magic pill.
No.
You don't just walk into a salon and say, give me the ultimate bridal hair package and expect a one-size-fits-all solution. It is a highly specific, customized menu of treatments based on an accurate diagnosis of the raw material.
Which brings us perfectly to the core philosophy emphasized by Weddizer.
Yes. Let's talk about Weddizer's philosophy.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, their entire ecosystem is rooted in personalized strategy. It is about choosing treatments based strictly on your unique hair type, rather than blindly chasing whatever cosmetic trend is currently going viral on social media.
And it's funny because when you look at the Weddizer website, they actually applied this exact same philosophy to their skincare and wellness sections, too.
Oh, totally.
Like, you can go into their article section and find entire guides dedicated to your niche. You can find guidance on exactly how to get that natural glow, but it's all based on your specific skin type and a long-term wellness routine, not just slapping on a highlighter the day of.
Exactly. It's that same preparation mindset across the board.
Right. So let's look at the actual diagnostic matrix provided for hair in these sources. It's essentially a prescription map matching the treatment to the specific hair pathology.
Right.
Let's start with dry and damaged hair.
So for dry and damaged hair, the primary goal here is restoring baseline strength and deep hydration. You aren't worried about smoothing the surface yet.
You just want to stop it from breaking.
Exactly. You are worried about the hair snapping off. You have to stabilize the patient first.
Makes total sense. Then, for frizzy hair, it dictates that keratin is your, quote, best friend for sleek results. We already covered how that smooths the surface and blocks the humidity.
Right.
Now, for chemically treated hair, which I assume means heavily bleached or relaxed hair,
Yes, exactly.
the strategy suggests a combo move. It says to combine Olaplex with subsequent bonding treatments for maximum repair. That sounds like an incredibly intensive and probably expensive protocol.
It is intensive, definitely.
Yeah.
But you have to understand the trauma chemically treated hair has undergone.
Right.
When you bleach hair, you are blowing open the cuticle and oxidizing the melanin pigments inside the cortex.
It's violent.
It really is. In the process, You are destroying both the structural disulfide bonds and severely depleting the hair's ability to retain moisture. It is a dual crisis.
Yeah. So you need a dual solution.
Exactly. You need the pure Olaplex to painstakingly rebuild the internal skeleton of the hair, and then you need the hybrid bonding treatments to constantly replenish the moisture and elasticity that the bleach completely destroyed. It requires a dual-pronged long-term attack.
Okay, wow. And then we arrive at fine hair. And here the methodology issues a very specific, almost urgent warning.
Yes, this is crucial.
It dictates that individuals with fine hair must opt for lightweight bonding treatments to avoid weighing the hair down. Why is the physical, microscopic weight of the hair such a critical factor in this matrix?
Because of the inescapable physics of gravity.
Gravity.
Sounds obvious, but gravity is a stylist's constant antagonist. We talked earlier about those elegant, voluminous buns and cascading, bouncy curls.
The Pinterest dream.
Right. If you have fine hair, the diameter of your individual hair strands is incredibly small. They lack natural structural rigidity.
Okay.
If you overload that fine hair with heavy conditioning agents, thick silicones, or an excess of keratin protein, the physical weight of the hair strand increases dramatically.
Oh, I see. It literally becomes too heavy to support its own structure.
Exactly. When the stylist uses heat to create volume at the root or tries to put a tight, bouncy coil into a curl, the sheer mass of the over-treated heavy hair will pull against the curl.
And it just falls.
Within an hour, gravity wins. The roots fall flat, the curls drop into loose waves, and eventually it just looks stringy and limp.
That is heartbreaking.
You have to maintain this incredibly delicate balance. You must make fine hair healthy and resilient without suffocating it under the weight of the treatments.
The curls just drop. It's a tragic waste of effort. And this complexity, this absolute need to balance porosity, elasticity, density, chemical history is exactly where a platform like Weddizer proves its value.
Absolutely.
The framework notes that the platform doesn't just list these treatments in a vacuum, it acts as a strategic navigator. It helps you explore top-rated, specialized salons, discover trending styles that actually match your specific hair type.
Right.
And critically, it offers personalized recommendations to navigate this exact diagnostic matrix we're talking about.
It really acts as the bridge. I mean, there is a massive chasm between having the theoretical knowledge of what a disulfide bond is and the practical execution of finding a trusted, highly vetted professional who can accurately diagnose your hair porosity and administer the correct chemical treatment without damaging it further. Weddizer contextualizes the science into actionable, real-world steps.
All right, here's where it gets really, really interesting. We've talked about the individual treatments and their respective timelines, 3 months for this, 1 month for that.
Right.
But the framework actually synthesizes all of this into an ultimate chronological pre-wedding hair care timeline. And when you view it all laid out continuously, it reveals a completely distinct physical and psychological strategy.
It really does.
It's like a military campaign for hair health. Let's walk through it phase by phase.
Let's do it. Phase 1 begins at the 3-month mark. This is labeled as the time to start Olaplex or bonding treatments, to trim away split ends, and crucially, to actively reduce all heat styling.
I look at this as the detox and rebuild phase.
That's a perfect description. At 3 months out, you are stopping the bleeding.
Right.
By reducing heat styling, you are halting the daily accumulation of new damage. By trimming the split ends, you are physically removing the frayed, dead tips that no chemical can save, which prevents those splits from traveling further up the hair shaft.
Like a run in a stocking.
Exactly like that.